Hello. It is that time again. Formula Premiere is back, and we are back for our fourth instalment and our fourth season of racing. The man you see before you, our three-time champion here in Tier 1, is ready to steal back the stage. But in a longer, more thoughtfully contested season, we may just have the most decisive, the most glorious, the most delirious battles we have ever seen. Welcome, one and all, to the Australian Grand Prix. And my oh my, as we've just seen as Gupta goes to the top of the timesheets and promotes himself to provisional pole position, we have something epic to be told in these next 20 races. We start here in Albert Park, we end at Marina Bay in June. I am Ben McCarthy, your commentator. I will be guiding you through proceedings tonight. And, well, here down under, we may just have a tale of matchless mastery to be enjoyed. But before this stream got going, we had big drama. Slick, arguably the pre-season favourite for the championship, crashed out in qualifying too, and the man that won the pre-season race here at Australia last week is instead going to be confined to a start from outside the top 10. Now, in the shape of this championship direction, the man on pole position, Gupta, admits himself he's not the driver he was in the past 3 seasons. He has switched from the controller to the wheel, and that has hindered his performance. So a lot of emphasis on his competitors is going to be about dethroning him in these first few races, because as Gupta builds momentum, he could be streaking away into the distance, which we have seen him do on so many occasions in the past. Like I said, we have the longest season Formula Premiere will ever have. 20 races to be contested, and my oh my, we are in for an absolute treat in these next, 5 to 6 months. This season will be carrying us all the way through to the 2023 Formula One game, which will come out in the summer. So it's a long ride from here, but it is a long, alluring and riveting ride that will be enriched by the entertainment we see out on the tarmac. So here at the Albert Park for the Australian Grand Prix, the home of the Australian Grand Prix since 1996. That race famed for Martin Brundle's horrific crash going into turn 3, which a Curdray has just passed as he is on an outlap. That race also famed for in 1996. Jacques Villeneuve coming perilously close to a debut win in his maiden race in Formula One. He took pole position, but a radiator problem after a fierce contest with his teammate Damon Hill saw him come out second best in the end. And we have seen some other epic instalments of the Australian Grand Prix around this circuit. Think of the races in 2002, the multi-car pile-up at the first corner of the first lap that day, with Rubens Barrichello and Ralf Schumacher colliding, the latter getting extraordinarily high into the air. In 2003, David Coulthard's last win in F1 as changeable conditions sought a race of attrition. We've also seen many debuts been made around this circuit, none more so than Lewis Hamilton in 2007. This has been a track for opening monologues to a Formula One career. This could be the opening monologue to a classic season of try and tussle. Ogier then is the one of only 2 drivers to not set a lap so far in Q3, but he intends on thrashing his Alpine chassis around the corners of Albert Park. He heads now into turn 5 and on towards turn 6 and 7. The Alpine, quickest of the lot. It's purple. It's all 27.2 through the first sector. And a shade of blue is emerging. It's bubbling in the final couple of minutes of the first qualifying session of the season. Gupta is on pole position currently, a 1:18 flat. That hasn't eclipsed the pole position that Charles Leclerc claimed in the Australian Grand Prix last year. He posted a lap time of a 1:17.868. So we haven't quite broken into the territory of last year just yet. It looks like Turbulent Storm may have just brought out the yellow flags through turn 1, the newly reformed turn 1. As you can see, Ogier running very, very wide going into through turn 12, where Daniel Ricciardo crashed out in qualifying in 2017. But Ogier rounds the final corner, heads down the Walker Straight, doesn't even open DRS. So this is not going to be the strongest lap time for the Alpine, and it's only good enough for P9. Axel then in the Alfa Romeo is currently sat on the second row, less than 0.2 of a second away from pole position, but he is clawing that deficit back every passing corner. He's going to displace Gupta, it seems, as he heads towards turn 11 with DRS wide open, brakes precisely with prowess and precision. And for the Alfa Romeo, who joined this league halfway through last season, he showed promising speed, but could season 4 be the opportunity that he takes with both hands? He rounds the final corner, he opens DRS, he chases towards the line, and he goes onto provisional pole, a 1:17.8. He is 0.2 of a second clear of Gupta. How do his competitors respond? We have the times tumbling around this circuit. Matsubo has invalidated his lap already, so he is not going to be improving upon a P8 start. But Hydrant rounding the final couple of corners in the Red Bull. This is a man that has shown so much speed through his time in this division. His qualifying speed has been sublime ever since the first season. And is he going to show it again? Oh, yes, he is. By a mere 100th of a second, Hydrant displaces Axel. De Grotte then climbs to the top 3, over 1/10 of a second away from Hydrant. But Gupta improving by nearly 3/10 through the first 2 sectors. He was deprived of pole position just moments ago, but can he claw it back? Let's ride on board then with the McLaren. The 3-time champion in this racing division is ready to regain his road to rigour and extraordinary drive, rounding the final corner for one last time, opening the rear wing for one final time. Hydrant is the man to beat, and Gupta defeats him. Gupta will start the Australian Grand Prix, it seems, from pole position. Turbulent Storm will cross the line. 7th turns into 6th for the McLaren. A very strong opening qualifying session for McLaren. Hydrant, is he on a lap? I don't think so. He is not on a push lap. The tarmac to this man's teasing and trembling talent stretches yet further. Onto another racetrack, into another season, into another dynasty. It is the meticulous manner of mastery from the McLaren. Dark skies gather overhead, but this shade of papaya orange is shining and penetrating through. It is pole position for Gupta. It's the opening honours in season 4 for Gupta, and the 3-time defending champion has shown his speed. And I haven't actually mentioned it yet, but due to the new rules for Formula Premier this season in regards to the scoring, 3 points will be attributed to the man that starts from pole position. Gupta gets off the mark then with 3 points. The man who qualifies on the front row, in this case Revokes, will get 2 points, and then Hydrant will earn himself 1 point for P3. In a way, it's similar to the scoring format for the sprint in 2021. But it's 3 points for Gupta, and it's pole position for the Australian Grand Prix. So then, that's a very interesting qualifying session. One contested to mere hundredths. It's Gupta from Revokes from Hydrant. 2 Red Bulls take on 1 McLaren. And Revokes has got to be a standout performer, joining Red Bull and from day one out-qualifying Hydrants. What an interesting dynamic that is being birthed at Red Bull. But it will be 2 Bulls upon 1 McLaren, and it is going to be an epic instalment of the Australian Grand Prix coming our way. Blink and you miss it, and you do not want to miss a mere moment of this race, which is coming up very, very shortly. Whichever plans you have, quell them, ignore them, because this is the century and central form of pure and ineffable entertainment. So then, it seems like someone has already readied up, which I'm sure everyone is, how do we say it? Someone's readied rather prematurely. Nonetheless, we will have the action underway in a few moments' time. So, whether we get the formation lap underway in a moment, we will. No, we won't. We're going straight to the 5 red lights and straight to the start of Formula Premiere in Season 4. We are underway. Gupta hitting off pole position, but Revokes immediately displacing him on towards turn 1. The Red Bull up into the lead, but he runs in deep. Hydrant will look to seize the position from him. He's already left ahead of Gupta. We have a crash at the back. It's Robo Snipes in the Alpine, but out in front it's Revokes from Hydrant. Gupta trying to make a charge on Hydrant, but the Red Bull around the outside preserves that second place. It was 2 Red Bulls upon 1 McLaren, and the Bulls are charging here down under. It's a dream start for the 2 Red Bulls. They lead 1-2. Gupta down to 3rd. Lucas up to 4th. We have yellow flags out through turns 6 and 7. I think that's Mousy the chase, perhaps. Or we have a few drivers off the road, including a Kerdray. And a Kerdray in the Alpine dropping down the order. It seems like he may just have a damaged front wing, but out in front, Revokes leading. Hydrant is 2nd. Gupta is 3rd, but what a tremendous exit. He gets off of turn 10. And they will funnel through now towards turn 11. So the man who started this race from pole, demoted and shuffled down to P3. The big winners from the start, including Hudgedog, leaping from 15th to 10th. Slick gaining 2 places after his crash in Q2. And it seems like Hydrant overtaking Revokes, and Revokes has made a mistake. He's conceded the lead to Hydrant. He concedes 2nd place to Gupta. He may just relinquish the final place in the podium to the Ferrari of Lucas. Down the inside goes the Ferrari into turn 1. He had it all. He had it all. Is Revokes, but a mistake at the end of the first lap costs him, and costs him dear. Oh, that's Axel tapping to Grotte, not Williams. Puts it to a spin. Dejection, despair, and this race for De Grotte explodes into an avalanche of agony. Hydrant then takes over the lead of this race. Gupta is now 2nd. That's Matt Zuvo now out of this race through the exit of turn 6 on towards turn 7. Matt Zuvo has met the conclusion to his race, and he may have just collided with Robo Snipes. The Alpine is without a front wing, and Matt Zuvo, who started with inside the top 10 and who was hoping for a strong opening race to this season, sees the conclusion to his race written in a matter of miles. So the safety car has now been deployed. The drivers think about making a pit stop, most notably Hydrant, but he thinks again and remains out on the track. But the safety car will neutralise the seeding, so any driver that does have a damaged front wing, including De Grotte, can come into the pits and repair the damage they have encountered. Robbo Snipes also will be thankful that the safety car is out. And for the two Alpines, it has not been the greatest start to this race. The pair of them started inside the top 10. They have now been shuffled down the order into 16th and 17th. But the safety car deployed as we start lap 3 of this Australian Grand Prix under yellow flag conditions. And it's been a wild start to this Australian Grand Prix. Hydrant leads the race. Gupta is second. Lucas is up to third. Revokes down to fourth after looking like he'd seized the upper hand in the opening exchanges of this Grand Prix. But the safety car has been deployed due to Matsuvo crashing out of contention through the newly profiled turns 6 and 7. That's not the way that the AlphaTauri wanted to start this season, in a team that brought Matsuvo his best chance of championship glory back in Season 1. He won the opening 2 races of Season 1, the first two races of Formula Premiere. But it was not the start to the season that the AlphaTauri would have wished for. So then we will start lap 4 of this Australian Grand Prix under the safety car. Hydrant, like I said, leads from Gupta. We have Barney Dog then in the Merc pitting. He's changing his front wing. So has he damaged his front wing in the laps since the safety car was deployed? Nonetheless, Barney Dog will drop down into it. May be quite close with the Alpine of Robbo Snipes. Actually, no, it shouldn't be, because we are under safety car conditions. So Robbo Snipes is charging down the start-finish straight. It looks like Barney Dog will have the upper hand, and he will slot in ahead of the Alpine. So it's Barney Dog 17th, Robbo Snipes 18th. The pair of them will want to catch up to the pack in this safety car period. So then, if you have just joined us for the first race of this season, you may be wondering what on earth we have just been presented with. A flurry of cars behind one another as the safety car seems like it's coming in at the end of this lap. Sorry, I just had to head downstairs. But the safety car coming into the pits at the end of this lap. Hydrants will choose when to nail down the throttle, as we will be back underway here at Albert Park. They will head down the Walker Straight for the start of lap 5 of this Australian Grand Prix. Hydrant, who seized the lead at this corner at the end of lap 1, will hope that his exit off of this corner will grant him a chance to regain his supremacy, and we are back underway. Yellow flags were out provisionally through the last sector. I think Mousy the Cheese did have a slight problem, but Hydrant leads Gupta. Lucas trying to sense an opportunity, and Mousy the Chase is also out of this Australian Grand Prix. It looks like Revokes is being caught and passed there by Tabular Storm in the McLaren. Down the inside, there's the McLaren. Is he able to battle past the Red Bull of Revokes, getting out wide, but they're still running side by side. A little bit of contact between the pair. Who can gain the upper hand in this battle as De Grotte also retires from this race? It's absolute pandemonium here at Albert Park. And it's Revokes now shuffled down into P6. Pudgedog is right behind him on the road. Then we have Slick, Axel, Curtis Chaos as well. Like Slick's up to P8 now. So the two Aston Martins who started outside the top 10 have now made relative improvements through their Grand Prix thus far. So it's looking an awful lot better for the Green Machines, the Constructors Champions last season, as well as guiding Gupta to Drivers' Championship success, as well as the J-Lol tapping the rear ends of Tabular Storm. We then have Revokes and Pudgedog running side by side. The Aston Martin thinking about making a move on Revokes. And this race just goes from bad to worse for the Red Bull. Oh, he looked in cruise control through the majority of the first lap, slipping away from him in such a benumbing way. Lap 6 of 29 now. That's not the best exit through turns 1 and 2 for Pudgedog. Revokes is hot on his heels. They're racing towards turn 3. The Red Bull choosing and chancing a move around the outside. Is he able to make this stick? He slots in to try and make a move past the Aston Martin, but it is just no use. The Red Bull then taps Pudgedog going into turn 6. He still has to slot in behind, and it's becoming an exasperating sight. That's Aramco on the rear wing of the Aston Martin. Slick is very much in this battle as well. What an exit he gets. He's going to challenge the Red Bull, running side by side here at Albert Park. Slick on Revokes. Is the Aston Martin able to grant himself the inside line? Yes, he is. Slick now up into 7th place, but the exit is not so promising. Revokes is going to fight back. Once more they reignite in battle. Once more they are side by side, and the Red Bull around the outside. Can he make this move? He's going to commit to the outside line. He makes his move, and with a beautiful repassing manoeuvre, Revokes repasses Slick, and now Axel is trying to bother the Aston Martin, but Slick this time holding his own. Gets a bit trigger happy on the throttle through the exit of turn 14, but heading down the start-finish straight, Slick retaining that P8 spot. Curtis Chaos and Barney Dog side by side. Mercedes having to slot in behind in the battle for the final points-paying position in this race. And that is Axel overtaking Slick. And then the Aston Martin is tapped behind from Curtis Chaos. And for the race and championship favourite just 45 minutes ago, he is staring down utter desolation. This is not what was written in the script for the Aston Martin. He had made a strong start despite the qualifying mishaps, and he is now down in plumb last. Gupta, the rear end getting a bit loose through the turn 10 and 11 chicane. Barney Dog making a move on Curtis Chaos for P9. There are overtakes absolutely everywhere here at Albert Park as the folks now making a move on Pudgedog around the outside. Again, they get perilously close to contact. The Red Bull, does he seize his opportunity? He chances a move around the outside once more. Now heading into turn 13. It's a slow and technical corner. It's not one that will invite too much overtaking throughout the race, but the Red Bull will now have DRS down the start-finish straight, and he has a train forming behind him on board the Red Bull, starting lap 8 of 29. Following in the wheel tracks of the Aston Martin, cutting the track limits through the exit of turn 1, and then losing the rear end. That makes him vulnerable to Axel, and the Alfa Romeo happily accepting the invitation. Barney Dog then getting out wide. Curtis Chaos summoning his interests. They are not intense enough. But back to Axel, who's made his move on Revokes. He wants to make one on Pudgedog then. Currently on the medium compound tyre, which are grippier and quicker over a shorter race distance compared to the hard. So Axel wants to get a move on, or he could lose out to the very same contenders later on in this race when others run the alternate strategy to him. But with the drag reduction system in effect. Axel chancing a move around the outside. Oh, can he make this stick? Oh, yes, he can. Brilliant stuff from the Alfa Romeo. It was wonderfully committed and perfectly executed. He's now up into P6 and Pudgdog is now on the back foot. And could be conceding a position to revoke. Lucas then publishes the fastest lap of the Grand Prix thus far. He currently sits in P3 for Ferrari. And after a dismal season of 3 campaign for Maranello, they could be getting a podium finish provisionally in the first race of season 4 of Vokes and Pudgdog. They're going to reignite their battle with the Red Bull around the outside. That gives Vokes the inside line into turn 4 and now into turn 5. The Red Bull around the outside and showing the richness of his racecraft. He displaces of the Aston Martin and up into P7. He sees his teammate leading out in front. He wants to assert his name back in the fight for race victory, but Pudgdog is not going down without a fight right now, getting into the slipstream of the Red Bull. He's thinking about to move into the fast chicane on the fast side of the lake. Little slots in behind. And think about to move through another one of our DRS zones here at Albert Park. 3 in total. This one does not give rise to a move for the Aston Martin, but the Rogue struggling off of exit. And a hint of green grows large and looms large in Revokes' mirrors. What terrific action we have here at Albert Park for round 1 of season 4. It is Hydrant out in front. He leads from Gupta. The gap is straddling at around 1 second as Revokes earning himself a time penalty for track limits violations. Pudgdog behind him, but is he going to be for that much longer as Barleydog is now sensing an opportunity going into turn 3. Mercedes retaining his P9, trying to make inroads upon the Aston Martin's advantage ahead. We have yellow flags out in sector 1, and it's the J-Lo in the Ferrari, wounding his front wing, harming his race chances. And he drops out of the points, which is going to be of such bitter disappointment, knowing what potential he had running so high in the points earlier on, or so deep in the points earlier on, I should say. Nonetheless, Barleydog looks like he may chance a move on Pudgdog. We're going through so many different phases of this Grand Prix, particularly in this midfield battle. At certain stages it looks like Revokes has the pace, other stages Pudgdog seems to have the upper hand. But in this stage, Barleydog is growing large in the Aston Martin's rear wing. Burton and the J-Lo both displacing off horridly the Alfa Romeo, through turn 11, the scene of Fernando Alonso's crash last year here at the Australian Grand Prix. Seems to have been a problem there for Horridby. But Hydrant still leading, as he has done since the conclusion of the first lap. Gupta, though, is eating into that deficit, which is standing at just under half a second as yellow flags out on track once more, and it's Barleydog. This really is morphing into a race of attrition, and then the Kurd race, and the Alpine goes for a spin and a crash. The Alpine exits this race tapping the wall, and for the second time in this race the safety car has been deployed. So then, Hydrant and Gupta both taking the opportunity to pit underneath the safety car. Gupta almost tapping the rear of the Red Bull. But this is going to be an interesting moment in this race. It's the battle between the pit crew, and it looks like Hydrant has just about retained his advantage over the McLaren of Gupta. Revokes, though, stays out on track. Curtis Chaos will improve to second place. Hydrant, what is he going to come out in? Who's he going to come out in relation to? Well, it seems like there was no one from behind to demote him down the order further. So then, this second safety car period has spiced up the action once more. Revokes reclaims the lead which he held for so long on the first lap. But Curtis Chaos then up into second place, Pudge Dog up to third, Hydrant now down to fourth, but he is the lead driver of everyone who has just made a stop. In fact, he's the lead driver of anyone that has made a stop so far. But it is a Red Bull leading, but this time it is in the form of Revokes. As we inch towards half distance in this Grand Prix, it does seem that Hydrant has had the upper hand thus far. Revokes leading the race ahead of Curtis Chaos. Pudge Dog has improved through this race and for improving from his P15 start to Slick. Oh, there's been contact on the start-finish straight. But who has encountered damage? I'm not too sure. Nonetheless, we did see a couple of cars colliding down the start-finish straight as Slick pitting then, it seems, to the medium compound tyres, which, whether he can run them to the end of this race or not, will be a very intriguing question. But he can run them longer than drivers would at the start of this Grand Prix because of the lighter fuel loads and car weight, because obviously the cars will burn off fuel throughout this Grand Prix. Tablet Storm, wow, my oh my, that's a bold strategy, isn't that, from Tablet Storm, pitting to the medium compound tyres. I guess as he started on the hards, running the alternate strategy, this is the only way it can work, but he is going to be coming absolutely alive at this safety car restart, and he could be really bothering the likes of Excel, Lucas, and even his own teammate of Gupta if he can maximise the restart. The safety car once more will peel off into the pits at the end of this lap. Slick, it seems, trying to give as wide a berth as possible to the drivers ahead. It's almost Noah's Ark amongst the pack right now, trying to make any inroads possible on the driver ahead. But Revokes is going to get us back underway. Hydrant was the one that maximised this opportunity earlier in the race. Revokes will now take over the reins. He has a penalty to be served. He had a front row start to execute. He now has a race lead to execute. And Revokes, could this be a phase where he really starts to come alive once more? We are back underway here at Albert Park. Look how spread out the drivers are at this safety car restart. And like I said, we are back underway. Is anyone able to make a move? It seems that the safety car restart horribly, really troubling Barney Dog down this start-finish straight. The Alfa Romeo getting closer and closer and closer to the Merc, but the inside line into turn one does not fall upon the Alfa Romeo's grasp. Off of the exit, can he maximise a possible opportunity heading into turn three? He thinks about a move to the inside, but again, he's not close enough, and Barney Dog will hold on to that P11. Tablet Storm not gaining any positions at this safety car restart. It will become a great disappointment to him, considering he runs currently those medium compound tyres. But Hydrant then, he's the man very much in the box seat right now. He's the lead driver of all that has pitted thus far. He may just be the favourite in this first race of the season. Lucas coming under fierce pressure from Axel. It's the red Ferrari versus the blood red of the Alfa Romeo. Lucas, is struggling off of turn 11. The Alfa Romeo growing large in his mirrors, but not large enough to make any moves. Provokes is opening up a gap of nearly 2 seconds on the first lap of green flag action since the safety car restarts, and he looks particularly handy in clear air. Curtis Chaos still seconds ahead of Huddog and Hydrant as Barney Dog and Grace Warrior going side by side, and they both, through turn 1, are facing the wrong way. Once more we see a Williams and a Mercedes collide. And once more, it's a driver, or it's a collection of drivers, a couple of drivers that fall behind the pack. On board then with Hydrant, who has Gupta right behind him. He may just have to make a move here, Hydrant, if he wants to retake control of this Grand Prix. Gupta is an irresistible force awakening in this race. It's a force that has been awoken through many seasons of racing in this division. And he's less than 0.4 of a second away from the net race leader. These are critical stages in this Grand Prix. Lap 15 of 29, the race gets more and more engrossing through each passing lap, and Gupta, oh, it was so close to McLaren thinking about a possible opportunity, but through the final corner, what kind of exit can the McLaren get? It's not too troubling, but Hydrant has an even better one and is sprinting away from the McLaren. DRS enabled now on lap 16 of 29. That should aid overtaking. And Hydrant will hope that he can exercise the use and advantages of DRS to pass Pudge Dog ahead. 3 seconds is the advantage Revokes holds. Currently, like I said, he really has charged away from the pack at the safety car restarts in clear air. He showed the speed that he was destined to. And if he can open up a big enough gap, he could rejoin this race once making the pit stop in a very healthy position. But we will have to see how these next few laps fare for the Red Bull. His teammates may be on the receiving end of a Gupta moment, which may just be arising in a few moments' time, because McLaren thinking about to move down the inside, thinks about it again, but the Red Bull and Hydrant getting out wide, and then Gupta slamming into the wall. The glare of Gupta's crown fades away. His heaven bursts. And his race has unravelled in a moment of benumbing significance. Shell shock. Silence. Stunned. What have we just seen? Formula Premiere exploding with action, with immeasurable action from day 1 in Season 4. The champion crashes out when a win seems so tangible, so near, so close to him. And he has acquiesced his influence. My oh my, that is a poignant moment taking shape here in this race. After starting from pole position, Gupta is not going to score any points in this race. He will have the 3 points from his pole position, but he is going to be stuck on that, and the opening honours will go elsewhere. Hydrant then has been released, and he is now on the tail of the House of Curtis Chaos. We are ready to start lap 18 of 29 now, and Lucas could still be in the fight for the win here. This, as one challenger in Gupta fades away, one in Lucas may just be emerging. With every passing meter, through every passing corner, Hydrant sniffing an opportunity which eluded him in Season 3. He was unable to take a win. What's gone on? It's Horridby, it seems, to the exit of turn 4, and the safety car for a third time in this race has been deployed. And for Curtis Chaos, this could be a race shifting moment that he craved, because he can get rid of these hard compound tyres and switch to the mediums, possibly even the softs. And the chances for the Haas look oh so brighter now. So as Horridby crashes and finds the wall, the littered debris has constituted our third safety car period. Curtis Chaos does pit, so too does Tabulet Storm. Who else? Slick is going to pit as well. Let's see what tyres these drivers put on. It's mediums for Curtis Chaos. It's mediums for Tabulet Storm. It's mediums for Slick. So Hydrant takes over the lead of this race once more. But he is going to have Lucas hunting him down. The lead driver in the leading compound tyres is Revokes. And, well, after pitting, when he looked so dominant, when he was looking so serene out in front as he did have to pit, his presence may just be re-emerging in this race. The outlook of this race, the landscape shifts, and again and again and again. Where will it shift next? Who will it shift before? That's a question to be answered in the next 10 laps. So, Hydrant leading this race, and a chance that never came about in Season 3. He is leading a race, which he did do in Season 3, but could it be race-winning sensation for the Red Bull? Lucas will hope otherwise. Whether he can execute an opportunity or not, we will have to see. We start lap 20 of 29 of this Australian Grand Prix, with Hydrant in the lead, but with this race ready to explode once more. You can see your race leader Hydrant weaving this way and that way, generating temperature into his tyres, as he will hope to lead the pack at the safety car restart in just a few moments' time. The safety car will be coming into the pits at the end of this lap, so Hydrant will take control of proceedings once more. The driver's getting perilously close to contact once more, but the big forces in this race are ready to ignite. The challengers have come. Some have gone, and some remain. The most notable is in the form of Hydrant, who leads. For a reality that never came about in Season 3. From day one in Season 4, it could be closing in. It's 9 laps to the checkered flag. It's 9 laps to race-winning sensation for Hydrant. And Lucas is ready to count the Red Bull and the Ferrari side by side down the start-finish straight. Lucas may have just caught Hydrant out. Going into turn one, the Ferrari to the inside, thinking about to move for Axel. Or Davis around the outside. Thought he spotted an opportunity and it gets away from him. With chance, came with failure in the end, just punched on down the inside of Revokes. What's a move that could be, but it cannot be pulled off. He's now going to be passed by Curtis Chaos Slick up into P7. Tablet Storm currently P8. And again, another contender fall short. This time it's Axel through turn one. Revokes really closing in on Robert Snipes, now running side by side the Red Bull on the medium compound tyres. Utilising his speed, utilising his potential, and he's up into the podium places. This race has shifted and drifted here and there, with it drifting towards the presence of Revokes, who started from the front row, who still does have a time penalty to be served. Curtis Chaos and Robbo Snipes now running side by side. The Haas emerging ahead. Slick has now got ahead of Pudge Dog. And the runner-up from Season 3 is really coming alive in this race. He almost makes contact with Robbo Snipes as we start lap 22 of 29. It's Hydrant in the lead still. It's Lucas second, but Revokes now closing in on the prancing horse. It's the battle for second place. And Revokes is coming alive. What's a promising exit. This looks for Slick. Racing towards turn 3, he has the Alpine right ahead of him. He's going to permit himself the inside line, or is he going to connive with the Alpine? No, it's pinpoint perfect from the Aston Martin, who then sends it around the outside, and he's up into 5th. Could it be, just could it be Slick's moment? Could it be his race? Could it be the start of something special for the Aston Martin, for a team that granted Gupta championship success in Season 3? Is it the turn of Slick, who looks ready and who looks destined for championship potential? Could it be his turn in Season 4? And now we have Buzzdog out of this race. And we have the virtual safety car deployed. And no, we have the safety car in its entirety deployed now. So Pudge Dog, before turn 9, crashing out of this race. And for the 4th time in this Australian Grand Prix, we're going to be ground to a halt under the safety car, or Hydrant thinking about pitting. Who is going to take the chance to pit Revokes? He's obviously going to pitch the softs, but he's going to relinquish track position. That means Slick is now up into P4. Remember, Slick was running last at one point in this race. What a miraculous recovery it has been from the Aston Martin. So then, under the safety car once more here at Albert Park. It's Hydrant leading still. It's Lucas second. But these laps for Hydrant, he's just counting them down and down and down, closer to the checkered flag. So let's have a look who could possibly be amongst the favourites in this safety car restart. Curtis Chaos. So, Curtis Chaos is the lead driver on the mediums. Slick is second. Remember, the Haas, though, does carry a time penalty. Tablet Storm is in this fight as well, but again, he has a time penalty. The lead driver on the softs is revoked. So, again, his presence could be felt at this safety car restart, but he's not going to have many laps to do it. Maximum of 5. And with the time penalty to be served as well, as he's really just been kind of restricted and limited into his potential in this race, particularly due to his time penalty. Nonetheless, he will be on the softs at this safety car restart. And, well, he will hope that he can finish, obviously, the highest position possible. Duh. But he will hope that after starting from the front row and after leading into the first turn, that he can at least claw back some redemption, let's say. But we started with 19, we're cut down to 12, a race of pure attrition in a league that delivers like no other. This is Formula Premiere as we know it. Lap 24 of 29 on the first race of the of our fourth season here at Formula Premiere. It has been something beautiful. It has been something poignant that as we turn the year into 2023, this league comes alive once more, established in the foothills of 2022. Will continue on in its mesmeric and majestic form, and it has done just that on day one of season 4 here at Albert Park. Hydrants will choose when to get us going once more. He's led the field off of 2 safety car restarts so far. He's going to make it a third, but Lucas this time is the man hunting him down. It is going to be 5 laps to the checkered flag. We've seen desolation, we have seen jubilation, we have seen everything in between. But as these last 5 laps of the Australian Grand Prix get underway, who will be crowned serene? We're back underway. Here is Australia. Hydrant leading Lucas, leading Curtis Chaos, leading Slick, then Tablet Storm, then Horridby, who sends it down the inside of the Alpine. And Horridby then up into 6th place. Revokes passing the Alpine in the heartbeat as well. He's now hunting down the Alfa Romeo into turn 3, breaking around the outside of turn 3, and it is stellar from Revokes. Utilising the grip, utilising his potential. Could he be coming alive? Hydrant still leads. Lucas seconds, Curtis Chaos on the medium compound tyres. He's the lead driver on a softer compounded tyre. So he may sense his opportunity here, but Revokes now passing Tablet Storm, and Revokes in a breath is up into P5. The Red Bull, with rigour and resistance, has brought himself back into play. Oh, and there's Curtis Chaos going in deep. Slick, is this his opportunity to promote himself up into P3? Oh, he comes within millimetres of passing the Haas. It's not come about. The chance is there, but was it a big enough one? Round the final corner now. Slick, what does the exit look like as we start lap 26 of 29? Revokes publishing the fastest lap of this race so far. What a blistering lap it was from him, but Hydrant is clear out in front. He's nearly opening up a gap of a second as Horridby again goes for a spin, and this race just gets that much worse. For Horridby, that is. Entertainment-wise, this has been something to behold. But look, here is Revokes. Oh, he thinks about to move on the inside of Slick going into turn 6, but he's merely pushing the rear wing of that Aston Martin through these kinks and on towards the far chicane of turns 9 and 10. But Slick is now closing in on Curtis Chaos in the battle for P3. They're going to run side by side. Who is going to play the upper hand? It's going to be Slick around the outside. It's glorious. It is glorious from Slick. The move of a champion, of a driver, truly sensational. To pull that move around the outside of Curtis Chaos was beautiful. But for Curtis Chaos, it is desolation. He's dropped down into 11th following that moment of contact. And with that spin, he's now up into P10, but it's got away from him. What a chance he had of a podium, but it's slipped away. Lap 27 of 29 then, Hydrant leading still. The gap is 0.7 of a second. Slick is not going to have DRS. That leaves him vulnerable to Revokes behind. Nobody is able to make a move just yet. Horridly retires from this race. And we are now left with just 11 runs. This has been utter madness, matchless madness in the opening race of Season 4. As Curtis Chaos retires from the Grand Prix as well. We're now left with just the top 10, but Revoke's now closing in on Slick. Is he going to repeat the move that the Aston Martin made on Curtis Chaos on the last lap? No, but he's going to have DRS through the exit. The fast chicane, the exit wasn't too promising though for the Red Bull, but he's closing in through every passing metre. He hunts for the inside line going into turn 10. But the Aston Martin of Slick around the outside. He cannot preserve the place, and Revokes sweeps past and up into P3. He's been here, there and everywhere so far in this Grand Prix as Revokes. He led, he was running towards the tail end of the pack. He now runs to the podium places once more. Burton and Barney Dog running side by side down the start-finish straight. The AlphaTauri chancing a move down the inside of turn 1, but Barney Dog resisting the force from Burton behind on that occasion. Couldn't be turning his attention to Grace Warrior ahead. It's the penultimate lap of this Australian Grand Prix. It has gone by in a blur. Hyden's leading Lucas, leading Revokes. Revokes could still win this race out on track, but with the time penalty to be served, he is going to cut a frustrated figure. He currently runs in P3. At the moment, he would finish P5 with the time... Oh no, finish P4, my apologies, with the time penalty applied. But he just wants to push on and on and on. He now has DRS on Lucas going to turn 11. Again, he goes for the inside line. Again, he executes the opportunity. Red Bull running 1 and 2 as we approach the final lap of this Australian Grand Prix. Just had no defence on these hard compound tyres from Revokes. And yellow flags are out through sector 3. It's Barney Dog who's gone for a spin. But we start the final lap of what has been a pulsating Australian Grand Prix. Hydrant leads this race and is closing in on something that just did not come about in Season 3. It was one of agony at times. Multiple pole positions for Hydrant last season, multiple podium finishes. He did in fact grant himself P3 in the drivers' standings. But that taste of supremacy that never came about last season is going to be closing through every passing metre now. Revokes is passing on the road, but Hydrant is the man closing in. Red Bull leads 1 and 2. It's going to be a dream start to their season. Slick now is actually closing in on Lucas. This is his last chance of gaining a podium place. He was running dead last early on in this race. He actually collides there with Lucas, but can he make this move? The Aston Martin around the outside, and the green machine glitters. He earns the inside line. He promotes himself up into P3, and it's mesmeric from Slick. But it's Revokes leads the pack towards the line. Revokes crosses the line first, but Hydrant takes the opening honours in this Australian Grand Prix. Red Bull finish first and third with Slick in seconds. And my oh my, what a race down under it was. It was a roller coaster, helter-skelter of a ride. But that feeling is redrawn and recaptured by the Red Bull of Hydrant. For the Polish flag he so proudly carries, it flutters in the Australian wind. So then, that is it for the Australian Grand Prix. It was incredible, simply incredible. Red Bull finishing first and third, but it is Hydrant who takes the opening honours of the season. After being bettered by the junior team in Season 3, Season 4 gets off to the best possible start. It's Hydrant who wins, it's Revoked that finishes third, and it's Slick. Oh, it's Slick, who finished on the podium more times than any other driver in Season 3. He's on the rostrum from the first race in Season 4 after starting outside the top 10, after running dead last. What a comeback drive it was from the Aston Martin driver. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There is your finishing order. Hydrant wins from Slick, then Revokes Lucas 4th, Burton 5th, Grace Warrior 6th, Burton and Grace Warrior. What comeback drives from the pair of them. Turbulent Storm 7th, Robbo Snipes 8th, the J-Lol 9th, and Barney Dog 10th. They were the 10 finishers in this Australian Grand Prix, with retirements from Matsuvo, Mousy the Chase, De Grotte, Kerdre, Gupta, Excel, Pudge Dog, Horridby, and Curtis Chaos, proving that this has been a race of real attrition. But, ladies and gentlemen, that was it for the first race of Formula Premiere in Season 4. Whew. What a race. What a race that was. I enjoyed it throughout. I hope you did too. And, well, make sure that you return when we return, because this season has got off to a flyer. So then, if you did enjoy this race, make sure you return next week. Just a little recommendation. But from myself, Ben McCarthy, and this league, which is, well, if it hasn't tempted you before, it must have done now. But thank you so very much for your presence, ladies and gentlemen. And make sure you join us next week around the Sunshine State. We're heading for Miami, baby. I'm never saying that again. Thank you, everyone, though, for your time. And goodbye.